believe that we need to be a party of brawlers for the working class.
Oh my God, what a way to say it. A party of brawlers for the working class. I mean, isn't this tied into what I've been saying about the wealthy people being our progressive spokespeople? That no, who's going to be good brawlers for working class? Working class people who will brawl, right? I want to be a brawler for the working class. I am one. Like, let's fucking go.
It's going to take weeks to just parse just what the rules are. And any more about gravity is still in effect.
Yeah.
I believe, or did he executive order that as well? I don't quite know.
Dude, it's true. You're like, you go, can we breathe? Right? Can I still watch adult content and jerk off? Or is like a fucking ICE hit squad gonna show up? Right? I'm watching something on my phone and all of a sudden they're like, dude, you have just watched sexual activity. We're now taking you to the work camp. Like, goddamn, bro, what are you doing? Dude, do I have to get an adult content ID or some shit now? Like,
You're
what the fuck
apparently
is
now
going
allowed
on?
to shit in the water. Like, I don't know. It's all a blur. Everything that we thought we knew about the infrastructure and what to call America's back, baby. We're back.
Back to in the 1700s.
A country and a family of nations. But
Jesus.
as the nation, we win, you lose. Biatch.
That's really what it is, isn't it? Right? It's like we're back to like walking around being like we're like the most slovenly, like backwoods, toothless motherfuckers can walk around and be like American number one. America number one. Oh shit, we're so much better, Canada. You, America number one. Eh. Dude, can I just tell you something funny? So I have a friend. His name's Elliot Rocket. He shoots like Ty West movies. He's a director of photography. The Innkeeper, Maxine, Pearl, right? X. He shoots all those movies. And Elliot also works on a bunch of like Amazon Prime and Hulu TV series and shit like that, a lot of which are shot in Georgia. And so anyway, though, Elliot told me this story about how when he was shooting and they were in a small town, Georgia, and he, was there for, 6 weeks or whatever, 2 months. And he's like, let me just tell you what this town was like. He's like, I went into the little downtown and there was a man there wearing a shirt. He was there with his daughters and his wife. He was there with his family. And the shirt had a giant bullet on it and said, don't worry, I'm only going to put in the tip. And this was the shirt that this guy wore out shopping with his fucking daughters and his wife in the downtown of this town. Those are the kind of people that like that American exceptional. Don't worry, I'll just put the tip in. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucking segment of America that gets off on that type of exceptionalism, bullying bullshit, dude.
How was your day yesterday? What did you do?
Dude.
I kept my ass at home.
Yeah, good.
Inside.
Did
you watch the proceedings? Or did you try and avoid everything?
I watched his speech, and I watched them not be able to turn on the music for Carrie Underwood.
Of course.
I felt so bad for her. She's just standing there.
Yeah.
And they're
dude, that's like just thinking about the Carrie Underwood thing and them not being able to get the music to work. Like, isn't that just a metaphor for like the Trump way? All those oligarchs, all those wealthy people, they donate $200 million to his inauguration fund, and those motherfuckers can't even turn on the music right. There's no better metaphor for how inept like Trump and his cronies are, that you can give them all the money in the world, they have all the access in the world, all the capability in the world, and they just can't do anything right. They talk about meritocracy and eliminating DEI, but none of them is good at anything except, like, you know, using their privilege to acquire shit. They're all so incredibly unqualified. They are literally the least qualified people in the room, always.
We're going to be the administration of competence. We're going to make everything work again, except the PA.
Right?
Yeah, I was like,
Dude.
we are off to a great start here. But
Dude,
you know,
truth.
I watched his remarks and leading up to it, and then I was out. I was like, all right, I've seen enough.
And nothing surprising. Was it strange to you? You know, one thing that struck me was sort of this sense that the Bidens or the Democrats wanted to preserve this decorum. You know, it was I have to say, it was such a surreal scene to see someone who had attempted what he had attempted at the Capitol be handed the reins of power, not just in a peaceful transfer, but one that seemed to want to honor the tea ceremony.
Yeah, I feel that too, man. I will say personally, I was hugely disappointed in Joe Biden. Hugely. I mean, we saw the signs of it where he like put on the MAGA hat during Kamala's campaign, that stupid shit like that. Or when she'd have a big speech and he'd say something controversial to suck up the news cycle, which was totally annoying. But seeing him be like, Donnie, come here, welcome home, and all that shit was so disappointing, because it's like, we know he's a threat. Biden knows he's a threat. Biden talked about him being a threat. And then to like change his tune like that in public on national TV was like so disappointing. Like, I can't wait for Joe Biden to just get the out of here. You know, I defended him so much and stood by him, and I don't regret that, because I'm going to stand by the people that are doing the dirty work. But man, the way he left is just a fucking clown show, dude. Like, no backbone. Not a backbone to stand up for trans people or the culture war. Not a backbone to stand up for Kamala Harris. Not a backbone to stand up to Donald Trump or people internationally. And then to get all kissy ass there at the end was like super disappointing to me, man. No, we still have to fight Trump. We know he's an insurrectionist. We know he's a liar. We know he's a sneak. We know he's dangerous. We know he's a fucking scumbag. We know he's a criminal. So we're not going to celebrate that we're peacefully transferring the power to a fucking criminal. We should be calling out the fact that Elon Musk spent $1 million a day to buy that goddamn election. Why isn't that illegal? And why is Trump doing meme coins? And now he's got ways that foreign governments can pump money into him. Like, the emoluments clause went right out the window. Divesting right out the window. Like, all this whole, like, look at how good we're doing this shit. Dude, I want some fight. I want some fucking war with these motherfuckers. That is the kind of change that we really do need to get. And I really, like, hope we can figure out some way to evolve that, because I think in this modern world, we've talked about it. When we talk about Gavin Newsom and shit or whatever, we talk about that ruthlessness. And I think we are at a point now where Democrats need to start being ruthless. No more of this, we're going to obey the norms and we're going to let the clowns fucking upend everything that we need to happen. Like, we need to be more ruthless. No more fucking around with these clowns.
I think they know what we're going to do politically. They know, you know, how we position ourselves, even within internal squabbles, you know, when there's a progressive or whatever you may want to say about it. They kind of can map us out. And because of that, they're able to operate around that. They'll say, oh, yeah, they're going to do that, or they're not going to do that. No, there was never any question about who or who wouldn't show up to the inauguration, for example, or how they would be received, I think.
Right.
And they know that. And so they're able to, you know, to your point, Trump is able to run roughshod through these things because he has a lot of the party's number in terms of how they're going to operate. And I think that sometimes making certain calculated but unpredictable choices is a way that we can gives ourselves the upper hand.
And it also, I think, in some ways, it reveals some of the Democrats' posturing as performative. You know, when you're creating apocalyptic messaging,
right? And then you go and show up and wipe their butt,
literally.
Yeah,
coming over.
I mean, it's true, dude. The apocalyptic messaging was not phony. Donald Trump is a danger, but then when they're like, he's dangerous, he's going to overturn this shit, and then you show up and are like, welcome home, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? It does. It is such fucking bullshit.
And doing these things. And then when he wins, sitting down with watercress sandwiches and cream cheese and doing the whole 9 yards, it makes you wonder, well, did you believe any of the shit you were saying before?
Exactly.
Or was that something, again, that was just a part of your messaging?
Yeah, no.
We do have to point this out. I don't want to necessarily give Obama a pass, but it's hard with Obama because Joe Biden has the power to snub Trump and weather it. And he doesn't. He kisses his ass. But now Obama, when he wears a tan suit, or if he doesn't do it perfectly, he's going to get shit on. So there's a lot of extra pressure for Obama to not be that guy. Because Obama, if Obama snubs Trump at the inauguration, that will be held against every black person in America. You know, our social structure forces Obama to try to figure out how to best handle this because he doesn't want to endanger the climate for all black people who are already in danger with Trump taking over. And we do have to acknowledge that Obama's not playing on a level playing field. Like George Bush came in and ignored Trump, and he's going to get away with it. But if Obama walked in and ignored Trump, they would turn it into a look at how unruly black people are thing. And they would use that against all the black people and in their racist power taking. Not everybody has the same level of privilege to take a stand, and it gets complicated.
This is now a billionaire feeding frenzy.
Dude, it's terrible.
It is a kiss ass race.
Man.
It is, how can I
so dangerous.
Show how much fealty I have to Donald Trump in order to get my digs.
And you know, all those social media guys, right? The Zuck, the Elon, the Bezos, it's all about the monopoly shit. Meta and Facebook were facing serious monopoly challenges from the government, from the FTC and a government lawsuit. And they are all like polishing the knob, giving money, throwing in support, throwing LGBTQ and people of color under the bus to show that nod to Trump because they want those monopoly attacks on them to go away so they can just stranglehold all the wealth in America. And it is disgusting, bro.
What's really important for people to understand, and like now and every day of this administration, is that you're being ripped off.
My God.
You're being ripped off, dude. Like everyone is being ripped off. And he goes up there and he says what he wants to say, but he's just the quintessential New York con man.
I mean, for God's sakes, they launched meme coins. The day, like I can remember in the first administration, you know, somebody would intimate something and the Democrats would scream, he violated the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
And like everybody would go crazy and then everybody have to look up the Hatch Act. And now these guys are literally just launching meme coins.
Dude, they're crypto scamming, and he's got a stock ticker that people can just buy the stock of Trump Media and elevate his net worth, and the company is worthless. Truth Social is like loses $50 million a year, but people can just buy the stock, bro. It's like unbelievable.
Before the inauguration and piling up billions of dollars in wealth.
That's fake.
It's kind of an incredible transformation. But again, it feels like, let me ask you this, because maybe this is a different way of looking at it, because in some ways it reveals, maybe to the cynical mind, the way that you believe this shit always has worked in the past. That the idea of, and I'll give you an example, the gentleman, Martin, who is running for Democratic National
Martin
Committee,
O'Malley.
right? So he comes out and he says, hey man, we're not going to, we're going to take money from the good billionaires, not the bad billionaires.
Dude.
And if money corrupts, and this happened in a conversation I had with Congresswoman Pelosi as well. She said, money corrupts the process. I said, well, you raised $35 million. And, oh, no. That's we can't disarm. And I said, well, how does money corrupt the Democrats? And she said, well, it doesn't.
Dude, it's bullshit. It does. Right. And this is wild, too, because I have to point this out. At the end of the video today, I was talking about how I view Nancy Pelosi as less dangerous than Donald Trump. And then I saw this piece of information today, and I had to ask myself, do I really? Right? Do I really actually? Like, I may need to consider that, because I view Nancy Pelosi as less dangerous than Donald Trump because she respects some of the norms. But then look at this. Paul Pelosi made $38 million in stock trades leading up to Trump's inauguration, including investing in a small AI firm whose shares rose 50% last week. And then I'm like, God damn, bro. I get this piece of information and I'm like, man, like, there's so much more to it that, like, in some ways, sure, maybe Pelosi is less dangerous than Donald Trump. In some ways, she brought us some healthcare initiatives. She definitely helped corral the Democratic electorate so we could get everybody getting the votes, right? So she was good at getting the votes. She was good at getting the legislation through. But look at the other shit they're doing where they're just cha-ching, right? And so you know that they're sometimes not getting the votes through when it's going to make that money, that big money, that uber wealthy money, right? That, like, this is the side of Nancy Pelosi that puts Jerry Connolly in that oversight role. And so the thing about it is, while I'm willing to respect the party and stay true to the candidate and shit, I'm also willing to acknowledge that we do have to pay attention to this stuff. Like, this shit is super important. We do have to be willing to acknowledge the corruption in our own. And I'm telling you guys right now, the corruption is around wealth, which is why I get so distrustful of the wealthy progressive advocates, because the wealth, man, it fucking corrupts people. It really does, dude. People, like, they get less genuine when they've got that wealth as part of the equation.
Them. Money's bad for them, but for us, it's good money. And isn't it almost better for us to now have this arrangement be explicit?
Yeah.
And be out in the open so that we understand this is how the world fucking works.
I think actually, like, when you look at how, for example, Putin has operated in Russia and the way they've been able to kind of take things over in these oligarchies, these kleptocracies, they prey on that exact logic, on that exact predicate, which is that everyone's corrupt and it's all corrupt. And so who gives a fuck? Sorry. Who gives
how dare you? At long
it.
last, have you no decency?
And you might as well get yours.
Right.
And the problem with that is that we just entirely give up on a better world. Like, that is
it's sad.
That's the crux of it. It's to get good people to just give up and say, this is just how the world works now, and I might as well just throw up my hands.
Yeah, dude, that's really the shitty part about it too. And this is one of the things we see from a lot of these manosphere influencers. And I saw it with, like, the Tates and these people in the gaming world, is these manosphere influencers and these Trumpist influencers have been trying to sell this idea to kids, saying, like, just loot it, that it's okay to loot the system. Someone else is going to do it, so you may as well. And I used to notice this in bartending. I had a conscience about serving people alcohol, which was destroying them, and then taking money from the destruction. I felt like not good about that because it's, like, inhumane in a way, you know? And I mean, if you look at Buddhism, they say to not make your money selling weapons or intoxicants. And so I had a conscience about that, about profiting off people's demise. But then the way you rationalize it is to say, well, if it wasn't me serving it to them, it would be somebody else. So I'll serve it to them responsibly. And then I'm actually doing them a favor. And I mean, I did it in gaming. Like, oh shit, I don't like taking money from the gamer kids because these kids are addicted to TikTok and they're addicted to video games and I'm profiting off them. But, well, you know, I'm going to do it responsibly. I'll give them a good message and then it'll be okay that I'm doing it. But man, no, I had to quit. I had to get out of bartending. I had to get out of gaming because I don't want to profit off those types of destructive things. Okay, sure, somebody else can and they will, and that's fine. Go get rich. But I don't want to do it. Now we have these influencers that saying, dude, yeah, loot the system. You can make a bunch of money doing it, but the kids are now being taught, like, just do it. Somebody else will do it, so you get in there and burn the shit down and get yours. And like, dude, I think we need to be better than that. I think that kind of shit is how we've destroyed our planet,
And
man.
the fact of the matter is, like, I know this is hard. Maybe this is something like I would say or whatever, but like, I think it actually is important to understand that there are good people and they're like, and we should be doing good things. And when we decide to make that the norm, and when we decide to uphold it and value it, and even regardless of party, like, don't vote for the people who are doing bad things, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican.
Yes.
When we decide to hold people to a higher standard, then things actually do get better.
But don't you have to know what you're up against? Don't you? You know, how do you fight an enemy that you haven't defined explicitly? And I'll give you even an example in a small thing, because I think this speaks to a larger, deeper issue that I think I want to get into with you, which is, you know, we all look at, oh, why did the Democrats fall flat? Joe Biden got out too late, or Kamala Harris didn't have a time, or she, you know, whatever that was. But I think at its base level, it was a feeling that government is not being responsive to the discomfort of its people, right? Which breeds a certain feeling that there's this disconnect.
Right.
And so,
that's really, it's true. That's like really ingenious in a way. It's like a climate has been created. Where people are susceptible of this. Everyone who voted for Trump knew all about his corruption. Yes, but the thing about it is, though, is I think Jon Stewart is tapping into this. A climate has been created where people feel like the government has not been doing anything for them. So they now believe that being corrupt is okay. That being corrupt and getting yours is okay. You know what I'm saying? Allowable legal corruption. That's what's gotten set up here. And what's interesting about Trumpism is it is in this world of the laws and type of corruption that really benefits the white people. So it's the white people who are now using the idea of DEI and equity, and the civil rights laws have been against us, and the government ain't doing anything for us, and the minorities are getting these advantages, the immigrants are getting the free money, and the LGBTQ people are invading spaces, and so now we get to get ours, and we get to do this legalized white people corruption, and it's okay to be that way because, you know, the rules are set up that way, so we're just getting ours, right? And he really set that up here.